This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by the Podcast Reach System. Are you ready to exponentially reach more profitable customers? Launching and hosting your own show is your proven best solution for networking, client attraction, and establishing your celebrity expert brand. Visit www.podcastreachsystem.com and claim your rightful place as the leading star of your industry so you make a difference for your community, market, and audience. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. At the Brilliance Plus Passion Project, we connect with folks who make the world a better place by being part of it and by their contributions to it. And the conversation we're about to have is with somebody who I have known through social media for, I just joked it was 32 years, but I think it's been something like 5 or 6 years realistically. And one of the sad things about social media is how unsocial it actually is, and some of the hoops we have to jump through just to actually be friendly with some of the folks we're friends with. That's why I created the Brilliance Plus Passion Project, so that we can have these conversations, we can build these connections, and why I urge you to consider likewise for yourself. Today's guest, somebody I've been following for a long time. We've had a number of discussions on a number of different threads. Her name is Violette, and she is the top 20. She's one of the top 20 book coaches for 2022, according to Coach Foundation. And just to tell you a little bit about her, she's a Grammy-nominated songwriter and 3-time award-winning book coach, including being named, as I said, one of the top 20 book coaches for 2022 by Coach Foundation. She herself is the author of 9 books, including one with Jim Edwards, and a contributor to 4 more. Several #1 international bestsellers are included within that lineup. She's also a former regular contributor to Publishing Magazine and is a frequent guest speaker and writer on the topics of book writing, self-publishing, launching the #1, and marketing. Violette, welcome aboard. It's great to have you on.
It's great to be here.
All right. So the first question we have, and as those who are familiar with the Brilliance Plus Passion Project know, it's a 10-question sequence over about 10 minutes or so. We like to have some fun with this and also do it expeditiously. Ellen, how does the work you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and society at large?
Well, let's start with society at large.
All right.
Because I only take on projects, first of all, that I believe in, that I think have a great message, and that I think are going to help other people. So the way that I see it is like I'm helping people help people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see my role. And as far as what it does for them, it gives them more credibility. It helps them make a bigger impact, more money, and grow their businesses, and also do it without working so hard. Let the book do it for you.
Yeah. That's why I created Groundhog Day as an event, not a business strategy. So I alluded to a lot of your results, some of the things you're known for, some of your accomplishments, but what is the work do you actually do?
What I do
in your own words.
Well, it depends on what people need to do, but basically I shepherd people through writing their book. I teach people, I have a program that's called the 3-day bestseller program, where people can, it's a 3-month program, and people can go through and write their book within the program using my proven system that I actually created in 2004. And over the years, I've just continued to improve, and now it's pretty comprehensive. And then if people want to self-publish, but they don't want to do it themselves, they want help, plus they need an editor, they need help formatting their books. So we do all that. And a lot of what I do with that too is a marketing and visibility study to make sure they're positioned properly so they stand out from the other books. Making sure they have the right keywords and categories, making sure they have the right call to action, making sure they have a call to action. Sometimes authors don't even have one. That,
Right.
they don't even connect that they've got this course and they've got this book, but they're not using it as a bridge to get it, to use it to get people to their course.
Right.
So, so we do that, and then we do #1 bestseller launches, and then sometimes I work with people just on their overall marketing.
Right, right. And and I've seen this, and I see it not only with books, and I also see it with other forms of awareness marketing. And this seems to be, and I'm overgeneralizing,
Mhm.
but just to make the point, it's this corporate point of view that God forbid we actually make an offer. God forbid we actually show our people how to take a step forward. And I've worked with clients, I've worked with startups where they were coming from a corporate environment and moving into the entrepreneur space, and all this stuff still stuck with them. Like, oh, but if I say at the end of my book to go and download this thing, or to book this call, or to do this or do that, then I'm just another salesperson. Well,
Oh,
wait a minute, wait a minute. The person just spent 3 or 4 hours reading your book. Even if it's 150 pages, they probably put a good couple hours into it, probably not sitting down and reading it all at once. But regardless, they got their way through that book. If they made it that far, there's a pretty good chance they want more, and you're just going to not give that to them? Well, how is that being righteous?
right. Well, that's the whole thing is give them more, not your selling. It's
Right.
your giving value, and it's
Uh,
something that they want.
Giving value, extending invitations. It's
Mhm.
all in how small changes in the language can make a big difference, which is one of the underpinnings of my book.
Mhm.
So, in your experience, Ellen, what are a few of the most common questions that people in general will have when they're asking you about what you do, like the FAQs?
How long should my book be?
Mhm.
How many books do I have to sell to make it a bestseller? #1 bestseller. How many books can I sell, and how much money can I make?
Right. What are a few questions you wish people would ask?
Why do you do what you do? What makes you different? How can I work with you?
All right. Yeah. I mean, and I've seen some changes going back to the how many copies you need to sell. And I want to get your thoughts on this. When I
Mhm.
launched Groundhog Day as an event, not a business strategy, back in 2018, it was actually pretty simple to get my international Amazon bestseller badge. One of the categories the book is assigned to is it's a subcategory of a subcategory on semantics, which is relevant to the topic because the end section is all about how to make small changes to words to create big differences in meanings and results. And it
Mhm.
was a result of being in that small category, me getting a bunch of people to buy it and all the publicity, and me having a few influencers all announce it on the same day, which was February 2nd, Groundhog Day, obviously. I got my badge for 3 different countries and 3 different categories. But I've heard that while that still to a degree exists, and tell me how accurate I am about this, that Amazon these days, we won't talk about Amazon, favors books that show a consistent pattern of making sales when it comes to deciding who its bestsellers are.
Yeah, they say that, but still, if you sell a lot of books, you're a #1 bestseller.
Well, yeah. And at the time, and I say this candidly, I was going for the pump and dump strategy. I just want to get the
Yeah.
badge and we go from there. I mean, my whole goal on that Friday, February 2nd, 2018 was give me my badge.
Mhm.
Let me get this, and then we'll go from there. And then that raises questions of whether we go for sustainability or whether we just move to another book or whether I take the badge and run. Uh, it just
Well,
all
I mean, you
depends.
should always be promoting your book.
Oh yeah, and I
Yeah.
do. I mention it every time I have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
It's what drives most of the sales, and I get these nice little deposits from Amazon every month, which are
Mhm.
helpful.
Yeah.
So now let's shift gears for a minute, and let's have you tell us a few things about yourself that'll help our listeners get to know you better. And this is the fun part of our interview. So the first one is what would people who know you be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, people who know me?
Yeah. What would people who know you be surprised to learn about you?
Oh, I misunderstood the question. What would people be surprised to learn about me?
People will be
I
surprised to know I like cats.
um, I don't know. Maybe people would be surprised to know that I have a massage. I studied to be a massage therapist.
Okay. Okay. We all had those interesting jobs that looking back, it'd be like, how does this fit? Or what path are you going down there? And I have clients and I have friends who are in massage therapy, and it's it's a very good profession. But it's interesting some of the things we do. I was among other things, I was a recruiter for a temporary staffing agency. I was the guy who determined what side of the street a house is on, which impacted whether or not the homeowner was required to carry flood insurance. I've worked in behavioral health managed care,
Mhm.
and I've had businesses including web design, website conversions, product launches, and my current business is working with entrepreneurs to launch their podcasts.
Well,
All different
a
things,
lot of
all
mine,
similar themes.
yeah, a lot of mine have been connected because
Yeah.
I was a copy editor for magazines.
Hmm.
I was in publicity for the Ice House in Pasadena, which is a comedy club.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, and so those two were connected. I did massage therapy when I was in the music business as a way to semi support myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've done some other things, office work, that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know,
So, what do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
that I'm professional, but I'm hard on them, but I'm in a good way. I tell the truth, and my heart's in the right place.
All right. If you could go back in time and change one thing you've done, one thing you've experienced, one thing that's happened, what would it be and why?
Yeah. They're more than I care to they're more than I care to say. But I will say the one that I think is most apropos for your audience would be I wish I had hired a business coach in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, instead, what happened was when I first started, there was a course that was like the course that everybody was taking. It was called Teleseminar Secrets with Alex Mandosian.
Yeah, I had that one.
Yeah, I took the course and it was great. I mean, he got me to six figures very quickly. He
Hmm.
was a great mentor to me, but I didn't really learn how to run a business. Instead, I mean, I kind of learned how to do product launches and, things, but I didn't learn how to run a sustainable business.
Right.
And because of that, when the 2008 recession hit and I lost half my business, like so many people, I ended up having to sell all my heirlooms, all my jewelry, my wedding ring, everything.
Yeah.
And had I had
Yikes.
had I had a better support team and a better, a personal coach at that time, I probably wouldn't have had to do that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I wish I hadn't had to do that.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of the behind the curtains
Hmm.
view of it. I've
Yeah.
somebody I used to know told me that he would find marketers who claimed that they did one product launch and they used it to pay for their house.
Yeah.
And he would verify, yeah, that one product launch paid for their house. But according to the location of the house on Google Maps, cross-reference against his Trulia listing, that house is worth $23,000. So the point being that, yeah, it was an accurate claim, but you'd hope so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot more hype back then, I think, than there
Mhm.
is now.
Right.
I think that there's a lot more honesty now, and I bought the Kool-Aid because I didn't know any better.
I think a lot of us did, and I'm very
Mhm.
happy to see that it's really the authenticity more than anything else that moves things today.
Right.
Have become used to the idea that there is something magical and very valuable about some of that footage that ends up on the cutting room floor that's worth a look.
Mhm.
See, here's how I look at it. When we used to, oh boy, this is back in the day. Remember we used to buy DVDs and VCR tapes and what have you of movies we liked? And you know
Yeah.
how they would have a deleted scenes section or a blooper
Yeah.
section?
Yeah.
And when everything went streaming, that's the one thing that didn't carry. They typically do not have a separate stream that shows all the bloopers or all the deleted scenes. And so many people tuned into that stuff, the stuff they didn't include, the stuff that was the mistakes. And the reason that stuff was so popular is because people like to see the real story. They like to get the full picture, and they like to have the understanding of a bit of the thought process and the meta journey toward creating the final product.
Mm-hmm.
And deleted scenes and bloopers are part of that.
Yep, behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Behind the scenes. And yeah, I mean, I see a big part of what I do now is just telling people the truth. You know, I mean, a lot of times they'll come to me and they think they're going to write a book and the book is going to finance their business. And it's the other way around.
That's good.
Right? Their
That's a good one,
business
yeah.
is going to finance their book, which is then going to help grow their business.
As I like to say, the book is the new resume, the podcast is the new cover letter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So what famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet? And what question would you have for them if you had the opportunity?
The person I'd like to meet is Jesus. And I would say, did you know the world would split over your crucifixion, and what would you do to heal it?
Yeah. Funny thing, if this was the Family Feud and we were keeping official track of the number one answer that survey said to various questions, question number 8, the famous person, Jesus would be number 1 with a bullet. I mean, you could get the fast money just off saying Jesus. That's how much it is.
Because the world is nuts when it comes to religion and this whole split, you know, about, you know, Judaism and then Christianity and the fact, I mean, Jesus was Jewish, you know?
Yeah.
Now we have all this crazy stuff going on, and I would love for him to be able to tell us what the hell happened.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus is one of mine, and I would have questions like, so tell me, what's the real deal with this water to wine thing? And and this Mary Magdalene, what went on there? And that day that you went to the temple and beat up the merchants, what got you that fired up? Because what makes Jesus so uniquely special in terms of the pantheon of gods is the fact that he was, or is, depending how you view him, part man. So he had the humanity and the same feelings and the same drives that other folks have. Yeah. I found that some of the greatest compliments that I've heard said of people is what makes them extraordinary is how ordinary they are. And Jesus had 50% of that. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So you ask this question all the time and most people say Jesus, huh?
That'd be number 1 with a bullet.
Wow.
So
what's
number 9?
2? What's number 2?
Probably me. at least I like to convince myself that I've raised to that level, but I don't know. Question number 9.
I was going to say my number 2 would be John Lennon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can imagine that. So question number 9. What motivates and inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
My goals. I mean, I just keep it in front of me. Like, what am I trying to achieve and how am I going to get there?
Fantastic. So then let's go to, now I know you have an invitation for our listeners, and I'm going to share that with them for you. But I'm going to ask you in general, when we're done with this interview in a minute or two, what is one action you would want our listeners to take as soon as they finish streaming this?
Decide to write your book. Make the decision. Be intentional about it. I mean, I went to the chiropractor today, and like everybody else I meet, he was, I'll write a book someday. That's like the normal answer is I'll write a book someday.
Yeah.
And the truth is about 20 years ago, I almost died. And I was one of those people who had it on my list. Someday I'll write a book. Well, that was a big wake-up call, and I wrote my first book soon after that. So I would say don't wait for trauma. Don't wait for, you know, a life, you know, something terrible to happen. Just decide to write your book and do it.
Yeah. 45-second version. The primary content for Groundhog Day is an event, not a business strategy, which is my book, was completed by the end of 2016. Early in 2017, through some work with my coach, we came up with the name of the book. Almost a year later, I hadn't taken another step forward. We're the beginning of January 2018. I've got the title, Groundhog Day is an event, not a business strategy. I've got most of the content. What it needs is glued together in one document with an overriding story appended to it to make it all into a coherent whole. And knowing that Groundhog Day was coming up, and that's like the one logical day to launch anything with the title Groundhog, I realized I had two choices. Choice number one was rename the project so that I could do it that year, and I might not like the name as much, and the theme might not be as powerful. Mm-hmm. Option number two is wait a year. I went with option three, which is screw it, let's do it. We're going to find 3 days, clear the schedule, get the thing done. And dagnabbit, that thing was ready for sale by February 2nd.
So what'd you do in those 3 days?
Went and hid somewhere and finished it.
Well, see, that's what I tell people to do. It's like the faster you do it, the better chance you have that it's going to get done.
And it's like immersion. It's like once you, like if you're near a swimming pool, you may test the water and it may seem a little cold. Mm-hmm. Jump in, and within a few minutes, your physiology will match it so that now it feels pleasant.
Right.
So it's like it's also like getting started. It's like the power of inertia. If you're moving a big machine, it may take a bit to get that thing going, but once it starts moving, that same weight, that same heaviness, that same power of inertia will keep it moving.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I have an invitation for those of you who are out walking or jogging. I will say it out loud. For those of you who are watching this on our website or on our companion YouTube channel, you can see it on the window now. It's in the show notes either way. booksopendoors.com. That's booksopendoors.com. That's Ellen's website. And if you go to booksopendoors.com, you will locate a resource, a free gift called the Rockstar Authors Toolkit. So if you want to discover how to write and market a book that will sell quickly and easily without stress and overwhelm, these tools are a must-have, and they're based on 18 years experience by Ellen helping authors succeed. So go get it now. That's booksopendoors.com. And with that, Ellen, Violette, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.